I had another successful global talent application for my client in the last few days, and I wanted to share some insights for applying to TechNation after all of the reforms that took place earlier this year. So just to share the screen, you can see here, this is basically the way that I structure the applications for my clients. So I really look at it as there being 17 documents, by which I mean you've got the 10 slots and there's got to be, for the mandatory criteria, 3. And then for OC 1 and 3, which is innovation and impact, in fact, that's the internal language used by TechNation in terms of impact. You can either split these between innovation and impact or combine them. Now, in some cases, it's appropriate to combine them, I'd suggest. And it also depends on how many products you're featuring or what experience you're featuring. In this case, it's a product-based case. So if you had 5 products, then you could deal in each of those within each of the 3 pages, page and a half on innovation, page and a half on impact. And then you could have the 5 corresponding recommendation letters. So each of them corresponding to one of those products and corroborated in some way, by a different person. And that's really what TechNation's been moving towards. In other words, having recommenders that have actually worked with you for at least 12 months, and they had to amend the guidance and immigration rules to expressly state that, because there's such a big problem of people doing generic and like ChatGPT references and that kind of thing. So this would be a great way to set out an application in certain cases. And the other documents, the TechNation application itself, personal statement, CV, and LinkedIn profile. So if you look at it as there being 17 things that you've got to do, what people miss often is the CV. Although it's the last thing on the TechNation form, it's actually the first thing that appears when it's the first thing that TechNation looks at in terms of order. And the LinkedIn profile is also one of the first things they look at. And people normally just optimize that as an afterthought, but really everything needs to sit together coherently with the right weighting on the different areas of experience. So I'd say quite a big mistake that people make is they always ask for the recommendation letters first on the basis that, it's going to take some time for people to write them. But I think that's possibly the worst way to do it, because then the letters come back. It's arbitrary whether or not they sit together with your supporting documents. So I'd say it's much better to prepare the supporting documents, have them 100% complete, really bulletproof, and then those can be an aid memoir for the recommenders in appropriate cases, or at least where how you're approaching your application when you're asking for the recommendation letters. And if you do the supporting documents first, then get the recommendation letters, that's a more logical sequence, tends to produce better outcomes. And I think in terms of, there has been a bit of inconsistency on decision making at TechNation, because of course first it had its funding stripped, then everyone necessarily had to leave, and then there was some, it seems, outsourcing of the decision making on these applications, some involvement by external agents, and then there was the takeover of TechNation. And during that period, there has been some inconsistencies. All of my clients' applications have gone through, so I haven't had any problems in terms of my client base, but people have approached me with refusals where they haven't worked with me, and I get to see the way that they're approaching things. And they do look at this, especially in terms of impact. There is the emphasis on impact and on external recognition, but it doesn't stop you from applying as an employee. I think if you're an employee, then you should, just having sort of employee of the month type awards is not going to cut it. You you should, if you're an employee, especially if you're at one of the leading tech firms, be taking every opportunity to appear at conferences. And usually clients of mine from, the big tech firms like a Meta, Google, etc., they often simply don't have time to attend those conferences, although there's lots of opportunities. So so do take up those opportunities where they're available. I hope that's helpful. If you do want some help with your application, then feel free to get in touch. I have a consultation service. You can select a time to speak with me below. And I have a checklist of which this forms a part, which you can also get from my website or from the links below. Good luck in your application. Bye for now.